Hi, I'm Becky Rose, and I've had another After Forever After question. This one from Lord Morbius, who asks, will your system focus on realism? And if it does, will it have unrealistic things such as fire-breathing dragons and magic that actually works? Yes. I wanted to create a fantasy game. I wasn't interested in creating a historical game. I didn't want to do sci-fi or anything like that. I wanted to create a high fantasy game that fixed the problems I have with high fantasy role-playing games. Because for me, I look at D&D. D&D is too combat focused. Pathfinder, many flaws. GURPS, many flaws, and they're spreadsheetable. Osric, too old now. I mean, it's not. There's so many things in modern games that it doesn't have. There was no perfect system, and I'm not going to pretend that After Forever After is perfect. But one of the things it does is my friends and I, or a large number of my friends and I, are reenactors or ex-reenactors in my case, with experience of the weapons that we're supposed to be fighting with, and here we are playing these games with ridiculous combats that didn't work. I mean, the D&D combat for me, despite the fact that it's almost entirely a combat game, the enemies come together and then everyone stands still because if they move, there's reaction attacks and so many flaws that I just felt I needed to fix these. Having said that, I love cyberpunk and steampunk, so maybe I'll do a different game in the future. Maybe it'll have some of the same influences that are in After Forever After, but I'm not an expert on guns, so I am, however, pretty damn nifty with a sword and a spear and several other weapons, so it absolutely was always going to be a high fantasy game. As for dragons, well, I mostly have wyverns. There are a few dragons, but they're really just a few. I wanted to make dragons as dominant on the map as Smaug was in Lord of the Rings. See, Lord of the Rings doesn't have dragons, it has a dragon. And he scares even Gandalf. And I think the moment you make dragons killable, or if you present them as a species as opposed to an individual, then they are in some way lessened. In D&D I've killed so many dragons, and I can't even remember all of the dragon fights I've had now. I've role-played many decades. And I think that should be wrong. I think dragons need to be these incredible creatures of immense power. You don't solve removing them with a sword and a spear, you solve them with plot. I'm still in two minds about whether I'm going to stat the two dragons in the game. I'm tempted to, but on a scale of numbers they will be so powerful. I don't envisage anyone, certainly I don't envisage anyone ever killing the Queen. She's not meant to be killable. When I say the Queen, she's Queen of a city, and there's a whole reason and a story, quite a cool short story actually, as to why she's ruler of a city. I think I actually mentioned it in one of my role-playing D&D games that I've set in the same campaign world. I'm just using a portion of the campaign world for my D&D games at the minute online. She might get statted, and of course if you stat it, they will kill it. So I'm sure somebody will find a way, but especially in a game like this where it's entirely possible that a chance hit could do a lot of damage. But I suspect the stats on her will be received in the same way that people look at stats on Cthulhu monsters. It's like, how many planets do you eat at a time? She does, however, have a son, Black Dragon Prince. He might be killable, just because players do like to kill dragons. So yes, there are two dragons in lore. What I have, though, is lots of wyverns. I have lots of fancy races. I'm creating new ones. as well as using the classic. So I have goblins, but I also have boglins. So yeah, they live in a swamp, goblin in a swamp, a boglin, which is actually came out of a mispronunciation. I had a playtest group here, and they were in a swamp, and one of the guys said boglin by accident. He meant to say goblin, and I'm like, I like that, I'm keeping it, and wrote it down there and then. And then I had to do a bit of a brainstorming session to come up with gob wings for the goblins that I found in Sala's Reach, which is this vertical. Oh, yeah, I can't explain that quickly. It's a cool location though, and I'll save it for another video. Or again, it's in one of my my players did actually go there in my D&D campaign. So.